Patricia has a way of articulating this change process, this reframing process is so exciting that she's here and in this time, and that Amaya has picked up on it, and that all that you've come in line, and that the donut economics folks over, the folks, the Hague folks have resonated. So that's all very exciting.
Same thing, Mike. No, I'm getting that I don't have permission either.
Okay, so we'll just stay with just being recorded, and we'll post it afterwards. All right, so let's start. Thank you everyone for being here. I am really happy that I see very dedicated people who are really committed to making sure that we are changing this world in the really changing this world, not just saying it and doing something, but yet not really accomplishing anything. And I've heard that recently in many groups, the sentiment of many people that a lot of people are doing so many things, yet we don't really see real change. And I think that is what Patricia is trying to do here. She's giving us the how-to here, like the steps according to the natural order, because we are part of that container. And so we are not exempt. We need to do we need to go through this process. So thank you for being patient about that. So our plan for this whole session, for the whole February, is that for this session and next session, where we're gonna listen more. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna reflect. If you can do journaling about what you learned from grandmother Patricia, that will be awesome, because this is really about us using this knowledge and taking this and applying this to our lives and our community. So if you can really internalize this and see how we can use this together, that is like the ideal for us to really see something here. So for the session today and the next session, that's what we're going to be doing. And then for the end of February, there is the Being Beloved community event. So that will be an event where other groups are going to be coming together to convene. And there will be, at this moment, the plan is there will be breakout rooms that will be scheduled throughout Saturday and Sunday, where the groups will be leading each breakout room and having a conversation about how to reflect on the past and where we are and where we're headed, and see if we can weave anything in that space as well. So reflection and also possible collaboration if it's gonna happen. Our tentative schedule for that event is Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. I think they moved it an hour later, so I'm gonna be sending email about that. So hopefully you all can still come. 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Our schedule for the next session, the session 3, I hope I'm not like confusing you all, but for the next session, session 3 is next Saturday, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll be sending email about that as well. So so today we will just be listening to grandmother Patricia, and I'm not sure if she wants to do some breathing before she talks. It's up to her. But I think that's all I need to say at this moment. Thank you everyone for being here. And grandmother Patricia, we'd love to hear from you.
Again, in the traditional way, even though you've heard me, you may have heard me numerous times, and then I will briefly translate to you these words, and thank you for this precious time, for this treasure knowledge. Yaat e apene, yaat e shik e shidane, shih e ya, Patricia Ann Davis, Nshia, a Mississippi band of Choctaw, Nshla, Kachitni, Bashalchin, Ta, the Ne, Eda Shit, J, Kia Ani, Eda Shanala, Ado, the Yendane, Biaja Nshla, Boni He, and I am welcoming welcoming each and every one of you in this heart-to-heart group hug that is our hearth, our habit. In our habitat, we have a temple within our heart center. That's our sanctuary, our home, and we are here together in this sacred circle ceremonial, indigenous ceremonial change process by imagining, because we truly are already existing within a natural order. And I began with Ya'ate. So the part of the sound that's Ya is all the cosmos and universe, everything good, beautiful, and true for us. And downloading, yeah, that's all I speak. That's all that comes out of my mouth. Yeah. And then Shike, my family, Shitane, my relatives. And that is inclusive because there's no concept or excluding anyone. The language, it's impossible to speak and then say, but not you. And I have to tell that every time. I love to tell that, to get that across, that this language I'm using is cross-cultural, it is intergenerational, it is inclusive, it is universal and practical application, and it can be translated into any language in any land. And it is not a belief system, it is not religion, it is not academic theory, and it is not philosophy. It is important to hear the simplicity, and definitely yes, life is simple. It's in breath and out breath. Life is not all give and it's not all receive. And so I do want to start with rebalancing ourselves because we are dealing with mega level of crystallized thought forms right now around us, and even affecting our own aura and the electronics and our even the spirit of hindrance in our intention. So just recognize that the natural order and creator's laws and the spiritual beings that guide us and protect us, there there's no human being that has power over the natural order. And so I'm going to teach you how to meditate in a safe way, and means to put your feet flat on the floor. I'm already thinking about 4 directions. So put your feet flat on the floor and your spine straight, because your breathing then is going to be in your nose and out your mouth, and not too fast and not too slow, just rhythmically. Now, I hope you can see my hands, because I want to put I'm putting my left hand over my right hand, so that my left thumb is over my right and my right thumb is under. So it looks like this. Looks like this.
Hmm.
The right hand is over the left hand, but the thumbs are, one is under and one is above. One is above. That's when you put it over your solar plexus, which is between your heart center and your navel. between the heart center and the solar plexus. You put that there. The reason why is you all know that a journeyman electrician must wire a house safely, not to short out, not to cause a fire, not to bring on the all the electrical in the positive and negative pathways in which it's safe. So this is a safe way to meditate, and that means to listen to your own intuition, to hear your own voice, your own inner voice, and to breathe accordingly, to release all the toxins out of your body, so that you're not picking up other people's thoughts, you're not attracting, magnetically attracting any other entity, spirits. There's a whole range of technical names for not opening yourself up to the astral plane, because the astral plane is not a spiritual plane. And so that's a safe way. It is not religion, it's not theory, it's not belief. It is the mechanics of your own. You know that your spine has electricity and positive and negative. And the point is to breathe in your nose, out your mouth. And we're just going to do it 4 times. And you count silently. On the in breath, you count 1. On the out breath, you count 2. In ceremony, we have so many days and nights, or all night, of chanting and drumming and singing. And all healing takes place in a meditative state. And so this is a contemporary way to anywhere in your home and a place that you find of quiet, that you can do self-reflection in order to listen to your own inner voice for guidance and inspiration through telepathy, through your telepathy, and then into your own brain through revelation. So I'm just simplifying this. We could elaborate on it in some other future time. But for our purposes right now, then we are preparing ourselves for active listening, because we're doing spiritual work together. And you have agreed and committed to the time and the intent and the purpose. So eventually 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that is minimum 20 or 30 minutes a day at some point. I couldn't predict that for you, but you will experience then your whole brain thinking, and your monkey mind, chatter mind, it's just talking, talking, talking. It will finally be quiet. You will engage your whole time. So this is how you, this hand, the thumb is underneath in the palm, and the other side, the thumb is on top, on top. And then over your, so you're putting them, your thumbs, your thumb goes like that. One on top, one on the bottom. And then put it over your solar plexus. Your right hand, just start with first your right hand over and your left hand behind, under. And then just lock your thumbs. Because one is under and one is on the other side. There you go. Now turn it over. There you go. And put that over your solar plexus. Yes. And then that goes over your solar plexus. And let's just in unison, we're preparing to engage in deconstructing the thought forms that are harming us collectively and personally. So for at least 4 times. And we might have felt a tendency to stay there because it is so comforting, it is so replenishing, and it's restful. And that's how we are quiet, are just like if you're in an ocean storm and it becomes quiet, settles down, the wind settles down. And am I answering your questions on chat correctly? So that from here, then we enter this meditative state of active listening, because we have a timeline and we have the parameters, and we agreed, Maya and I, and we invited participants into the sacred circle ceremonial, indigenous ceremonial change process, in which our task is, what did Martin Luther King envision? He spoke about it so eloquently, and he called this ideal state the beloved community. And then we all think we know what he's talking about, and yet it's been quite a few years since 1965, or 66 in the spring, that he told us, and he gave us this legacy. And yet we have seen an escalation to what is antithetical to his message. And how are we to bring that third synthesis of friendship and love and compassion and empathy and caring and concern and harmlessness and peacemaking that already exists within us and around us, because that it's built in, it's already built in, we're already existing in it, and waiting for us to give our permission to be a conduit for making that choice. And so I'm going to use 2 words, which are ocho, and you can hear that in my voice. That is describing the destructive and death producing choice. The win lose, nobody wins. We're witnessing that right now in our world. And that is the outcome of making win lose, nobody wins, destructive and death producing decision and outcome. And so the natural order is designed, and we think and speak and act and make decision in this context of the laws that govern us equally, and therefore are the fundamental laws of equality, the basic fundamental laws of equality. We are governed by these fundamental laws of win-win, constructive, and life affirming decision and outcome. So I'm interpreting beloved community as the essence and substance of love within the cosmos, within the universe, within us and around us. It is the web of light and love and life. And we are speaking the vibrations accordingly to deconstruct, to dismantle, to cleanse, to purify, to empty all that does not work for us, that does not serve us, that are patterns that we learned for our survival, but we find out they don't work for our survival. And then how do we learn that the answers exist within each of us, and we are to do our part and hopefully inspire and motivate others to do their part. And what is our part? Our part is making decision, having the conversation with others, initiate and coming to group consensus about the creative solutions that we all benefit by. Each person using their inherent genius gift and giving healthy expression to it and being rewarded by that, in which we have our right livelihood and basic needs into the future. That is the legacy for the youth and the generations, our own children and grandchildren. And we're in agreement with that. We're saying, yes, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm committed to do. That's how I want to spend my time, my life, and my structure in such a way. So we chose not to break out. We're a small group already, and not to break out into any rooms and go into the main platform, Sign Network, and the activities and events for the weekend, the last weekend, as a group collectively, and not ourselves break into unless of course you choose that you want to go into other rooms. That's really up to you. So I hope that that's your choice. I'm not going to say make a decision for you. I'm just saying that for our purposes here, that we're staying together throughout this session. And then now I'm asking people, yes or no, yes or no. What is your decision? What is your choice? And thus far, we have been choosing to destroy ourselves and our planet and destroy others through enemy creation by projecting upon others that we have a reason unjustified to devalue and dehumanize others in such a way that we can kill them and invade their land and resource and invade them and genocide and plunder and pillage and say that we have we're somehow special and have been granted this permission and the word dominion, that we can dominate and use power over and brute force and deception. And so we're a small group of people that are saying, that's not my values, that's not what I cherish, and I would rather learn how to help myself and others to make decisions accordingly that we're going to benefit. So I'm going to describe again natural order, what I'm calling the natural order, because the word hojo itself is that we're existing and that no one can be outside of the natural order. First of all, our body is of the element of the earth and water, 70% or more. Fire is temperature and the sacred self-intellect, the fire element, and the air, this Ian, holy creator's breath, in breath, out breath. The whole universe has in breath, out breath. That pulse is life itself. Life, light, love within us and around us. And so we're existing in the environmental earth, the water and the fire, the solar fire of the sun, and the fire in our fireplace, and the electrical fire. Those are three fires in English. And that fire is our temperature within our body. That's a fire element. And then, so there's earth, water, fire, and air intrapersonally, and then our environment is earth, water, fire, and air. So the word Hojo is that all-encompassing concept and container of the natural order in which we exist within the fundamental basic of humane beings and earth surface people, that we are all earth, water, fire, and air existing in the earth, water, fire, and air. And nobody can exist outside of or separate from, but those who believe they are, of course, are destroying. Now, the natural order is a circle that has an open circle to the east, but beginning with east. Let's start with the directions east, south, west, and north. And then sunrise, noon, evening, midnight. So sunrise is east, noon is south, sundown is west, north is midnight. And then there's spring to the east, there is summer to the south, and west is autumn, and north is winter. So there's time and seasons. And then we have our life journey, not linear in a straight line from birth to death, but also following from east to south to west to north. So that's the unborn coming in from the east through the doorway, from the east, the unborn, and then the newborn, the child, and traveling 4 footsteps to south to youth, to west to adult and parent, and to north to elder and grandparent. So I'm in that north quadrant. I'm in that north quadrant, and what that means is that I have so much time before I return home to Creator within creation, and the earth will go, my body will go back to the earth, the water will go back, element will go back, the fire will go back. The air is continuous to receive me from where I came, the perfect peace and love of Creator, from where I came and where I'm going to return. And that's why we don't use our breath in such a way we have the power to heal, or we have the power to destroy with these words. We're using living words, the affirmative thinking system, living words to co-create with Creator, within creation, simultaneously, and then with each other. Power within us to have power with each other. That's the natural order. And then we have the jewel place and the teaching place. So in the east is white shell. We're saying white people. To the south, that's turquoise, which is red people, but not exoterically, literally red, but esoterically in the natural order. Anywhere you go on the planet, so we're calling it turquoise because it's a precious, semi-precious stone, and it's a gem. We're all a jewel and a gem. And then to the west is abalone shell, which is Asian people, yellow people. To the north at midnight is jet or obsidian, which is black people. So that all are born within the sacred circle. And there isn't one race of people that can say we're inherently superior. We believe that the belief that we're inherently superior and that we're privileged and titled over the other nations. That is Hojo, and that is the natural order. So in any land and any language, this is not religion or theory or philosophy. It's our actual experience. So that's everyday life. We're traveling from sunrise to noon to evening to midnight. the next day again. And also our whole life, again, is starting from child to youth to adult and parent and to elder and grandparent. And then we're of one of the four races of people. And then I'm taking English a further step and saying that we're all indigenous to the earth, water, fire, and air, while people want to use the divisive term to say all the reasons why we're unity and diversity or something like that. But as soon as we say that we're there's a reason to divide us, the esoteric, this synthesis, third synthesis that Connie is describing requires the unifying principles of our oneness with Creator within creation. That's our task. That's our way of life. And so the Navajo language, people are speaking the words in conversational with European thinking, which is dualistic and adversarial. And then I'm using terminology that's unifying and speaking in English in such a way to convey that and get that across, because we must come to group consensus in order to design the co-creative solutions for our collective survival. Is that yes or no? I'm using conscience and moral reasoning. You can thumbs up or you can shake your head. I can see you, that I need the feedback. You understand me, you're following me, you're acknowledging, and how it is inclusive, and how it eliminates this debate, confrontation, argument. Imagine our leaders following this indigenous ceremonial change process. Imagine we use it in our home for everyday decision making. Imagine we use it at work. Imagine we use it to build communal living, to restore, to reconstruct the infrastructure for communal living, in which we can truly say we are all related, all my relatives, we the people, supposedly, and then say one thing and do another thing. In the natural order, that's impossible, because reality is exact, and there is no debate about where the sun comes up wherever you are on the planet, and so on. So I'm got to this place of describing the natural order in such a way that I'm hearing back from you that you're following me about the definition and the description of, quote, the natural order in English that we're calling Hojo, the all-encompassing concept of holiness with H and wholeness with W. So we're existing in it eternally, in or out of the body, within the air element. And so we cannot exist outside of or separate. So then why are we choosing to deny? That's the values clarification. Why are we choosing to deny? And so it's very simple, yes or no. And my choice, it's built within me. And then I can teach others, so that this peer education, I call it exponential. And Amaya asked me to show with my hands again how I described to her in our preparation planning meeting before this session. And I was thinking how I could do this by turning sideways and describing to you, and again using my hand. So turning sideways, can you see, I can't see myself, but can you see one hand in front of the other? One
Yes, you
hand,
can.
okay. So one hand is in front of the other. So the hand that is in front, I'm saying that is beloved community. And we want to accomplish that. There's a timeline. We want peace in the world by 2030. And what is it going to take to accomplish that? How do we get there? Well, as long as we're saying that there's a there, there's no there because we're in it. We're in it already. But we're just denying it, and we're defiant in our denial. And then we're struggling in persistence and resistance to change. So this, what I'm showing you as the 11th child growing up on the Navajo reservation, I learned really early on because I heard a different ceremonial language throughout my childhood that's not English. And so I could see in pictures and understand and follow, even though if I didn't understand literally every word. So that I had to use this to survive. And so people say, well, when I overcome this and I get over here, and then this will happen. Whatever we justify to say, when I have enough money, when I finish my degree, when I go to work, when I retire, when I meet the right people, when I write my book, and then it will be like this. Well, immediately myself, this is what I figured out is that I don't say when, I say I I I I'm in the process of doing this, and it becomes one and go forward with it. So I'm calling that a quantum leap. And I ask people, I'm asking you to take a quantum leap with me. So that resonates with the word synthesis, because I have just shown you synthesis, the word itself means, within the synchronicity and within synergy. So synchronicity is just a contemporary front word for spirituality. And synergy is just a contemporary front word for love. And so now we've got synthesis, which is unifying energy. And I'm telling you that the language of ceremony only speaks in synthesis. We live it, we're created within it, we're living in it, and we make decisions accordingly. So people are telling me, various people from different lens and languages and nations of people are saying time is speeded up, and it feels like they're describing this. So this is a catapult. You catapult yourself going. You might say in English that you're going along horizontally, and your intention is in this unified action. What you're thinking, you're saying, and you're planning, and you're doing is all one. And then it feels like a vertical ascension and catapult yourself, when in fact I'm describing in English something that's already power within us to have power with, that we can use accordingly to what the appropriate function of what it's for. Wow, look at all those words for describing natural order and Hojo. And I'm going to just leave it at there, and you can ponder on that in your own time as your homework, and then practice. Because I had a meditation teacher in the late 70s, starting 1977, that used to say, act as if you are your soul. It's the same thing. Act as if you're your soul. Well, our soul is accountable, and we're accountable to our soul, and our soul is accountable to the greatest good for the greatest amount of people on this temporary journey on Mother Earth, between Mother Earth and Father Sky, for us to benefit. What we think, we speak, and we do is to be beneficial, benefit us in such a way that we're not causing harm or we're not sacrificing other people in which to meet our needs. And then people say, well, that's too hard. My thinking is that to con and scheme and otherwise, to me, that's like, I don't know how to do that. That's too hard. I once said, I think on one of the videos, I said, Indigenous speakers, which I'm not an Indigenous speaker because conversational doesn't make sense to me and I was not allowed to learn it. And I say, oh, thank you, Creator, I'm not qualified. Yay, thank you, Creator, I'm not qualified to learn this slang language that's using European thinking with our sacred words. Doesn't make sense. And so to so-called fluent speakers, when I describe words and the sounds, and they say, I didn't know that. Nobody told me that. And that's because the requirement for survival is European thinking is adversarial because it's dualistic, because it's for and against, right and wrong, good and bad, and it pits one against the other. And so we have people who are acculturated, that's the one up and one down, and then who are converted, take away and replace, take away the sacred self and replace it by the deficient self-image. This deficient self-image means I'm born evil, I'm born with a shadow side, I'm born, something's wrong with me, I'm born in such a way that there has to be some outside external remediation to remediate me out of my deficient self-image to some end state. And we have no such thing, there's no such thing, there's no way possible to say an I am statement. I said, Mississippi Band of Choctaw Nishle, or Nishle, or Nishle. That's literally saying, I'm born from my mother. These are my maternal grandparents. And the word itself is related to Toposhishchina, which is every child is born through the water. You see how profound and simple and beautiful that is? And it's real. Every child is born through the water from the life giver nurturer. And then the father is, my father's mother was Tachini. So he is Tachini. So I'm Tachi Bashalchin. I'm walking in my father's footstep and his image. He is the protector provider. He is the protector provider of my mother, who is the life giver nurturer. And there you have it. The 5 fingers, Bella Ashla, 5 fingers. People are humane beings and the healthy helping teamwork. So that's the basic of why we're not using theory or philosophy or religion. This is like common sense. And that we're built in, let's use it accordingly. And so we're at the top of the hour, and then we could just bring in the chart, and I will just show that to you, and then you can guide me to the next phase here on what we have planned today. So
Yes.
people that prefer to stay in their programming or their social engineering or their social conditioning, then that is pseudo community, and it will always break down into chaos and reorganize back into pseudo community and break down into chaos. So we see that for every administrator or the other. And there's no, it's because the terminology being used is to divide and conquer, and it doesn't work. So why would we want to use it in our personal and professional and spiritual life? It doesn't work. It'll never work. Now we're going to look at this chart, and on this chart, there is 2 circles. There's a top circle and a bottom circle, and I have just described to you this natural order is open system, because that door to the east is open, says there's a way. So ceremony, they don't say maybe the sun works, maybe the water works, maybe the fire works, maybe the earth and gravity works, maybe it doesn't work. There is no maybe. These life affirming words in Hojo, you're seeing what I just described to you. So we hope that we make this available to all of you, because it is showing you, illustrating. You see the inner circle there that's going counterclockwise. That's the life giver, nurturer. And then you see the one on the outside, the protector, provider. So we have men who took care of the inside of the territory and men who took care of the outside of the territory. So there was no conquest. It was territorial. And of course, from mild to extreme, there was from peace to disputes that ended in death. But there was no one tribe that was king and a queen and an emperor and empress and hierarchy and patriarchy that would invade and genocide and then plunder the other tribes, because protector is Napahi, provider is not Ani. So men who took care of the outside of the territory between the tribes' territories, and the providers who took care of inside of the tribe. And so there you have the healthy helping teamwork. And that's illustration of the natural order. That's where we all exist equally. So that's beloved community. It cannot be anything else. There's no way to live accordingly to spiritual standards for living in balance by your very breath, in breath and out breath. Life is not all give, not all take. Spiritual standards for living in balance. And then these were in creation. In Dasya, everything was created with a purpose. Nilya, it was placed in the 4 directions every day and along your life journey path simultaneously. So every day you're following this natural order path, and your whole life journey is accordingly. And then to south, harmony and communication, and the knowledge and skills in which then for your right livelihood. And then west is ceremonial, oral tradition. Take care of your water and your fire in your home, even if it's gas and electric. Take care of the water and you take care of the fire, take care of the elder, you take care of children, you take care of your livestock, your garden, you take care of your family, your extended family, you take care of each other, you take care of peace in your hearth, in your home, your habitat. And north, sleep, reverence. That reverence is yourself, your earth, water, fire, and air. Take care of it. And then take care of the environmental earth, water, fire, and air. Take care of it and it'll take care of us. And right now we're facing the amount of pollution of the earth, and the pollution in the earth by these nuclear wastes being buried in the earth. And then we polluted the oceans and the water. And then all these chemtrails, they are polluting the earth water, fire, and air. The only thing is that we had the fire out of control, out of balance. And so if you have a fever in your body, then you can't stay in the body if that fire goes too high or too low. So how are we going to stay on the planet? And so on. So this natural order is necessary for beloved community. It is beloved community. It is designed for beloved community. It's the ideal, and then there's the actual. I'm speaking of the ideal. And of course there's actual that's it's by the historical events that happen due to. So now if you can do thumbs up or shake your head that you're grasping, you're seeing the illustration of my use of the term natural order, and that the door to the east is everything comes from the creator. It doesn't come from human beings. Human beings are the ones who are hoarding it and oppressing people and saying that if you need basic needs, I'm withholding it from you. But if you need some, you can borrow it. But when you borrow it, you have to pay more back to me, when in the first place you didn't have it, and that's why you had to borrow it. But then you have to pay me back more. And then if you don't pay me back more within a period of time, it's compounding interest. And then on top of that, I'm going to tax you again, and you still owe me more. So that's the addiction to greed. So that open doors is the acknowledgement and the gratitude that everything comes from the creator within creation simultaneously, and we all exist in this oneness of Hojo. And then acknowledge it, either thumbs up or shake your head so that I can move on. It's not like having to, we're going to use the bottom circle too, Amaya, as a comparison. It's not a conversion process. You're not having to give up something and replace it by a belief or a religion or a philosophy or a theory. You're just saying, oh, I understand my spiritual self-identity as a humane being, and so on. Therefore, my decisions and my planning and my conversation with others are congruent with who I am. And so 5, of course, is to go out in the world from the intrapersonal to the interpersonal. That is Hojo Nasha, Hojo Nasha, Hojo Nasha Dole. I'm walking in beauty. I'm walking on the beauty way path. They don't mean like Mary Kay and Avon, and they don't mean that beauty that's like that. We're talking about inner spiritual beauty as a beautiful woman inside and around. What does that mean? It means caring, loving, nurturing, gentle, firm, courageous, and so on. But not, please, in what I'm teaching is to eliminate the word and the use of the word, quote, warrior, and especially warrior women, because the etiology of that term is like the military oath: kill or be killed. Don't think, don't love, don't use your conscience, don't have empathy, don't have compassion, don't have caring, don't have respect and reverence for life, your own or another person. Just kill. That's the etiology of that word and the vibration that goes with it. And so we'll move to the, and I know that I'm going to take take people they say, no, it doesn't mean that. And then they say, it means this. And they make it mean whatever they want to make it mean. However, all words have a vibration and an intention and have a consequence according to what they connect with. And when I say etiology, it means the root of the sound and the intention and the meaning of it. So at the bottom, we're not, and nobody actually can exist in this. It's an illustration of calling it closed system for design failure. So win, lose, and nobody wins, and destructive and death producing choice is design failure. And you can see the triangle going up, and you can see the triangle going down. And at the bottom of the triangle going up, you can see that it hits one against the other. We are right, we are righteous, or acronym, we are right, we are righteous. The other side says the same thing. People polarize into adversary, perpetually polarize into adversary conflict and warfare. And then you have the bottom, the mechanism for the bottom triangle is flipped downward into rescuer, enabler, persecutor, victim. I can't go into that into detail, but you can see where it says first it starts with confusion, doubt, fear for survival, hunger, poverty, disease, and early death. So the male role as a protector provider is supposed to ensure that there is no hunger, poverty, or minimize or eliminate hunger, poverty, disease, and early death. And so all I've been hearing on the media is confusion and doubt, and then fear for survival, and then to inflict hunger, poverty, disease, and early death. You can easily see this is antithetical. It's not opposite, there's a difference. Antithetical means conflict of interest, not dualistic. It's not for and against, right and wrong, good and bad. It's antithetical. This is not beloved community. It's like yes or no. Who is going to say and value and adamantly deny the oneness and holiness and wholeness and say, I value and cherish and want to perpetuate and recruit the next generation to participate in their own demise and use the and design and create and interpret laws that govern this hochon, everything no good and doesn't work. Do you see it? We don't exist in it. It's the symptoms that we created that produces the symptoms and the belief and the symptoms. So to design beloved community is the acknowledgement, the gratitude, and the affirmation that we are existing within this power, within to have power with others that does eliminate the need for power over brute force and deception that we're witnessing. That is in this closed system, it's design failure. And then you see the shaded area, leveler and truth teller. So working together, we're not the perpetrator, we're not the predator, we're not the rescuer or enabler, we're not the persecutor, we're not the victim. A leveler and truth teller then is following, oh, what is out of balance? What is it is out of balance? Is it cancer? Is it war? Is it greed? What is it? And then let's do self-reflection, and then let's see, how is it that I can define self-sufficiency? What is enough for me? Because remember, inequality, where you see inequality, where you see the money signs, that go to the top, from the poor to the rich, every generation, from the bottom to the top. Inequality itself, in controlling and manipulating the world resources for only 1% of the population's benefit, you can see that inequality is in and of itself abuse. Now, when the people who are in marginal living or in this poverty state react in any way, protests or just however, voicing the disagreement and being violated physically, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise, the very expressions of disagreement, of being violated and being subject to oppression, which becomes internal oppression, and then depression, and believing there's no solution. And then we have the suicide homicide pact on the planet. That is called reactive abuse. And women hear this because when we define our healthy boundary and our healthy helping, then everything we say and do will be used as a weapon against us because of this domination, submission, male domination, female submission, and the aggression and animosity that it initiates into domestic violence and lateral violence. And so we're going to leave it there and just say again, I'm going to have to stop here, even though Amaya and I agreed, and I said it was necessary to describe the two thinking systems to you. But I basically have described inverse thinking system is the bottom circle, inverse, meaning belief in deficient self-image. And then the top circle is the affirmative, which is not a belief, but it is the actual appropriate function of our whole brain thinking to the self-realization of our spiritual identity as, I'm going to use the word precious child of creator, because the preciousness of the jewels that we are of our nation, and also the preciousness of the earth, water, fire, air within the earth, water, fire, and air. What is it? Life is precious. It is. And so basically it would take me this length of time to compare the two thinking systems, but I know that it's important to, in the context, within the parameters of our task for this event, to acknowledge and to have gratitude for the sign network and for the people who have the resources to allow, to give permission, and to also support the event, in which then people who are interested very specifically in what is our path forward in terms of how we carry out within our personal life and professional life, and then how do we have group consensus around manifesting and bringing that into fruition through this indigenous ceremonial change process that is, name what is out of balance, identify the root cause, undo the root cause, dismantle, deconstruct it, cleanse it, purify it, make that correction only, and then till then do we reframe out of the inverse thinking system and remember and reawaken to the affirmative thinking system, which is built within us. Then we have group consensus. Then we can design the co-creative solutions, which require cooperation and collaboration and of resources as well, the world resources as well, and equal distribution accordingly to the needs, not the demands of saying that it's practically like the empath narcissistic so-called in the literature. It's not it's not dualistic either between them, but there's from mild to extreme. I almost said extreme. Extreme. People are screaming about it right now. This 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 interaction that is demanding that we don't want to be regulated. We can make up our own reality, and we deserve to profit, but not you. And I'm an individual. I don't want communism and socialism, and I don't want to be in communal living because you don't deserve a handout because of your color or whatever reason. It's your fault. So you have to pay. You have to pay me for what I set you up to blame you, and it's your fault. So that's a real blunt way of describing the inverse thinking system. Okay, are we ready then to
Yes.
take
Thank
some
you,
time?
Patricia. So yeah, I hope people was able to take that and ponder of that. So we're gonna offer the floor to any reflection or anything that's coming up to you or questions that you have, because we are here to get educated and also learn from each other. So if there's some clarity that you need on, or if you want to share where you are at this process that we're walking, that would be awesome. So we're here to walk together. So if anyone has any questions, so you can raise your hands you can click the emoticon icon. There's a raise hand button at the bottom, or I'll look at the grid and you can physically raise your hand, or put in the chat that you wanna say something. So I see Deborah's hands raised, Deborah Emmanuel. So not, not the other Deborah. So go ahead, Deborah Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Patricia, for it's so profound. It's so beautiful, everything that you said. And I hear it all. One of the last things you said that is in the dominator model, when those who are oppressed, especially, I mean, not especially women, because so many people have been depressed, but oppressed. But when that happens, in the dominator model, when that's still in place, it is used against those who are speaking up against the oppression. And that is exactly the dynamic that has perpetuated this dominator model for so long. And I'm wondering what your sense is how to break out of that, how to break through that barrier so that those who are oppressed can speak up and can regain their voice.
Well, I always say that I'm not an activist. I usually make that clear really early on. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for what we would consider and agree on what is good, beautiful, and true for children, families, elder, and for the planet, the environment. That's advocacy. And so when we pit ourselves against someone or something, there's an equal, it may not be equal. There's a power over force that comes. We pit ourselves against, there's another force that comes back. And that's cause and effect. So this how-to is to design safe and supportive environment, to make the correction within ourselves, and in such a way that there is no judgment, there's no punishment, and there's no condemnation. And so when people have attacked me in mega hate campaigns trying to discredit me or calling me all kind of names and ridicule, I have said, inhale love and mind your own business. That's my first sentence. So that I'm doing my part and I'm paying attention and I'm focusing, because then the group consensus carrying out this manifestation process, bringing to fruition what we already know, that we came in a body on this earth to learn and practice, because we're equally bound by hatred as we are by love. And hatred is I say that racism is a euphemism for hatred. So there is a self-hatred, then there is projected outward into enemy creation, and to say that we hate someone or something. So we're not participating in that energy, in that intention, in that thinking system. And so that requires a discernment. A discernment is, and I have language that I had to invent and phrases to convey just to my students that are consistent, and that we can converse and know that what we're referring to when I say criminal mind, that's using our thinking for what it is not for, which is win lose and nobody wins, and destructive and death producing decision and outcome. And so you're asking me the question, that the answer is that that's what we're doing and have been doing since day one that I was first invited to be on this Sign network in December 19th. From that point on, those videos are available on my Facebook page, Indigenous Wisdom Institute. So you're joining in at whatever time, and your interest is that you're already. So we'll go on to the next. There's people lined up.
Yep. Next is Tommy, and I just want to clarify, Patricia, how much time do you need for closing? How much time do you need for closing to end the session? And then we can open it up again after the closing for people who want to stay.
Well, let's say we're already into.
So we have 30 minutes left.
We have 30 minutes. So I'll say the last 5 minutes, huh?
5 minutes. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you know. So Tommy, you're next. If you have any question for Patricia.
Oh, I was bringing up the case of you tend to go to the non-resistance path of dealing with people who are ready and open and ready to see, whatever issues we're wanting them to see and, wanting to be the change. But how do you suggest that you reach people who don't want to see and they completely blame the victim, such as, the term white privileged or the, predominantly, European crowd who likes to put down the marginalized, whatever term you want to give them. How do you get them to see, or do you just don't bother with it?
Well, this is what I said. My expectation is that I'm not seeking out the non-resistant people. What I said is that everyone is persistent and resistant to change because we have been at a systems level, socially engineered, at a personal society level, community, family level. We're socially engineered to win, lose, nobody wins, and valuing and perpetuating destructive and death producing decision. And so I only inspire and motivate and teach. And those who understand and listen, then that's my audience. I don't, I can easily, I have to conserve my energy for my age as well as my work, and also shield myself from protection, but I'm not exempt from anything I talk about. Therefore, just the recognition that that people are spiritually asleep, meaning that Einstein said that you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that caused it. So people don't even know, they don't know that they're trapped and entrenched in that thinking system in which there is no solution with the same thinking. So I'm not going to, I don't give advice and I don't make decision for them. I will acknowledge them. I will be courteous and kind. And I will, we have to see where we're going to protect ourselves in terms of how much energy we're going to get. Instead of being replenished, when you're around spiritual energy, you feel uplifted and happy and joyful, and you're replenished. When you're around energy that is intended to harm, maybe not even specifically you're who you're the target of, but you can be the target of, it depletes your energy. So I have the right to protect myself personally and my family while being transparent and honest. And that's where I'm going to leave it because we have so much time. Okay, you can stay afterwards. All right, if you still have more.
All right.
Yes. Thank you, Grandmother Patricia and Tommy. Thank you for that question. A lot of people are asking that in their minds. Connie?
I thought it was Salish next.
Oh, either one.
Oh, Salish.
Yeah. Okay. Salish.
Thank you, Maya, and thank you, Connie, for your grace. I've been thinking about this from a systems engineering perspective because that's how I was trained. But I also was brought up in the Eastern tradition where we were taught that the creator is always in charge, that we are just puppets in the creator's hands. And when I learned how about the environmental crises, I thought everything I knew was wrong. That the creator could not possibly be doing such a big mess on the planet through us. And then my granddaughter was born in 2010, and she, to me, represents the 4 directions that you mentioned, Patricia, because she's Indian, African, Autumn, and Choctaw. And she convinced me instantly that we belong exactly as we are, and that we're not telling the right story. That if we tell the right story, then we can transform ourselves, just as you were talking about, the ceremonial change process. And that it is inevitable that this is going to happen. And we are in the middle of it, and we are experiencing it. And we are transforming, and we will get to a beloved community. So all these things just rushed into my mind that this is going to happen, and we are in the middle of it. And but from an engineering perspective, we look at what is wrong with the axioms that we are working with right now that's making us do all these bad things. And it turns out there are really 2 axioms that our civilization is built on. One is that the pursuit of happiness is best accomplished by stoking and satisfying a never-ending series of latent desires in human beings. And secondly, life is a competitive game in which the privileged can enslave, possess, and exploit animals, nature, and the underprivileged for the pursuit of happiness. And these 2 foundational axioms are absolutely false. And this is why the civilization is not sustainable. I mean, so when you build something on a false foundational axiom, you build something that will never work. It'll never meet your objectives. And
there you have it. The foundation is faulty. And
right.
so we're going to move on, and I'll just ask you, are you referring to your granddaughter as in her bloodline Tohono O'odham?
Yes. Akimelatam. She's Akimelatam.
The what?
A Kimelatham?
Okay, I'm not really catching it, but that's okay. I understand the what you're saying about belonging to the people who are within this basic understanding of their place in the natural in nature world,
Mhm.
and using specific terminology. And so you're describing the inverse thinking system in this pursuit of happiness,
Right.
black ink on white paper, and then um, I I I have eliminated terms out of my vocabulary, including transform, because metaphysically there's transform, transcend, and transmute,
Mhm.
and we are transcending and transmuting. Therefore, I'm not doing a transformational change or paradigm shift or raising or expanding quote consciousness. I just reframing terminology to get across that reframe is our original instructions built within us.
Right.
Good enough for now? And we'll move on.
Thank you,
Thank
Grandmother
you.
Patricia. Sorry, I mixed up the order. It was Silas and then Connie. So and then next will be Shauna and then Lolo. Okay,
There you go.
ahead.
So I just wanted to bring in and actually ask Patricia her thoughts. It's my understanding that it's frequency, it's a vibration. You brought in vibration, Patricia, and frequency, and that the earth was in a lower frequency that it gave rise to these behaviors and this thinking. This is my thinking, how I'm framing it, and that it's moving into a higher vibration, a higher frequency, the earth is, so that it's engendering what you're speaking of with moving into the Hozo way of being, and that's why there's so much support and energy for you now, because it's resonating to the heart and spirit of humanity that's coming forth now that we're responding to a higher frequency. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know you use the word evolution of consciousness to describe what you're describing right now of energy is frequency. And of course, everything is energy, everything is frequency. The colors of the 7 colors of the rainbow are all a frequency of everything we see in manifestation. And so for I refer to the nature of the semantics of the English language, which is a dualistic language, and it connotates, or it sounds like it's for and against, right and wrong, and good and bad. For me to answer that is that in the Nehbazan, because I'm not teaching from the English language or the thinking system of the English language as a trade and commerce language and money and finance system language. This Hojo is all encompassing of the sacredness of the vibration of holiness and holiness. It's when a person chooses for the self-betrayal, betray creator, betray self, and betray others. Betrayal, self-betrayal, self-alienation, self-effacement, self-destruction, anything that we can think of in terms of self-sabotaging. That's the one I'm looking for, self-sabotaging. Then that person has denied the vibration and the frequency of their spiritual identity within the sacred self, within our sacred place in the universe. And so on that journey from child to youth to adult and to parent, person can reframe their thinking, their decision, and stay in that frequency. But when they make a mistake by their denial and their brute force and their deception, to appoint themselves the God of this unequal distribution of manipulating and controlling the world resources, then they are lowering their vibration. And that's what humanity has done, because the certain population of people have access to their ancestral knowledge, but refuse to use it. And why they're reaching out to indigenous wisdom and knowledge, because indigenous people's language, tribal indigenous language, speak the vibration of the frequency that connects to the natural order, whereas English is abstract, and so on. There's other characteristics of it. So let me leave it there, because then that's also a way of saying to wake. This is a time of remembering and reawakening. That's your language of how you describe it and illustrate it, and how I'm saying it is within the context of ceremonial language, and how the ceremony exists to reframe, meaning our original instructions is the frequency and vibration of how we're existing in our self identity, in our eternal self, in the eternal now. So there's no fall from grace, there's no fall from heaven, there's no hell, there's no way that a person can lose the frequency that was intended for us to accomplish this unified principles are captured in the word beloved community. And then we'll take the next person, and you can stay with us if you wish.
Thank you, grandmother. Shauna is next.
I think I'll pass and then stay after and ask if there's time.
Okay, gotcha. Lolo? So this is probably going to be our last one so that Patricia can close our session. Lolo?
Okay, thank you. I had a couple of things that, first of all, I want to say that I feel like our pathway to all of those people who are proud boys, and it's not a direct path, of course, but the bodies of everyone is absorbing and has absorbed the illnesses of this wrong way of framing and our low self-esteem, not touching into our core energy process, that not being in line and in tune with our own natural order. The body is our barometer, and you are bringing us back, thankfully, Patricia, to feel that place. And I feel that we can do that. And I am curious about your, I don't know how to go forward. I've created a system that I think helps children and helps youth and helps people to come back to the body. A type of Tai Chi that's not Oriental, but actually simple gestural movement. And what it is a language. So you actually captured it, Patricia, that the language that we are using in English is what divides us. English has been just a chaotic confusion of elements from the beginning. A very exciting thing that's coming up right now is sign language. And it's not sign language, it's American Sign Language being seen visibly. And many people in America don't realize that American Sign Language is not understood throughout the world, unfortunately. I think American Sign Language is amazing in that you need to know this. It didn't come from English. The base of American Sign Language was French, which is so interesting. So it has a French alignment of understanding. And then also it was created with a lot of input of intuitive sign languages. And these were the original ways that human beings developed to go heart to heart, was gesture. That was the first language. Verbal came later. And, you know, of course, we have millions of languages, but people communicate through gesture. And you showed us some gestures that are so beautiful, Patricia. And I want to show everybody another one. This gesture is the uh, it looks like a house, and I believe that I'm doing a World House Challenge. But this gesture in the language that I've created, that my mother started creating in 1956, is respect, dignity. So our world house is respect and dignity. And I think that this is the place that we can bring it in, is bringing people self-respect and self-dignity and touching into their own self-nurturing, which they never got from their mothers, sometimes, quite often. In some cultures, actually, it was developed that the mother would not be there, you know, and that was our Western culture. They took the mother away and put in a caregiver. Anyway,
Okay, thank you.
I have one other thing that I'm actually asking. I have a question about. And that is that I've been teaching a in-breath, out-breath system, and I'm wondering what you think of it. It's actually from an ancient Tibetan Tonglen practice, but it's called taking and sending, where you take in the darkness, the blackness, the lack of the ignorance in a way. You take it in as you breathe in, and you breathe out. You transform or transmute. Breathe out light. Breathe out generosity. Breathe out those qualities.
Well, I have to say that is not what just straightforward. No, that is not what I'm teaching, because what I am teaching is how to safely protect yourself and shield yourself from internalizing the frequency of negative energies that exist in the astral plane, which are just an accumulation of people's misunderstanding and miscreation of thought forms that are, we have to clean up our own karmic, so to speak, to use that word, way of being that isn't beneficial and helpful to ourselves and others. And you covered some areas in which it's the word dominion. It's that word which then male domination, female submission is still in effect throughout all of history. And I've given the root cause of it before in previous video. So yes, it is language that is a power word or living word or divisive way, but the language comes from the thinking system. So there's two thinking systems, that is affirmative, and there's inverse thinking system that I did a very brief but not elaborate. So it's the thinking system, and English is in the inverse thinking system, because there's a belief in deficient self-image to be remediated out of that deficient self-image by some external entity or organization or government or whatever, or creed, doctrine, or prophet or book or all the or psychology or theory or philosophy. That so affirmative is our own capability within us to use our thinking for what it's for, its appropriate function for that decision making. And then the main one is it also touches on Salish. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And what people are interested, how do you, the first question, how do you not get yourself involved or internalize this? How do you shield yourself and so on? While you're busy focusing on your own correction and your own intention and your own inherent sovereignty with your genius gifts, this is the main problem. The person is outside of themselves over there, trying to get into everything over there. When right here, you just take your your thinking and your two hands and you work hard and be honest and inhale love and mind our own business. It's the focus and why over there and why believe that spiritual path requires pain and suffering. You're going to get a reward for it. You have to be not worthy and sacrifice yourself. No, let's just serve in the world and just focus right here, intra and interpersonal, and go along. That's how I survive and live this long. Is not there's oppression of the whole earth. The American Indians are the most messed with people. We're supposed to be all annihilated, not even existing yet on this land. The Indian problem, we're still here. And all the attempts still happening to depopulate us. So I'm telling you my own life experience. I had to live it to be able to speak it and to practice this. I'm not saying you all do this, but I don't have to. I can just be in my ivory tower and no, I'm coming from my relatives still in outhouses and no water and electricity and dirt roads and no job, no money, no food, no homes. Well, there's a lot happening right now during this COVID time where there's external help coming in. But for generations and centuries, no, it's not. How come? Why are we exiled in our own country and refugees, and our nations are just your taxes pay for further deterioration? How can the 11th child out of Navajo reservation life come out and do what I'm doing, except what I'm telling you is the answer? So you're going to do it or not do it. You're going to say yes or no, and we'll go on. We'll go on to the next person.
I think that's the last one. That was the last one. Thank you for that question, Lolo.
Was there other people? Because
no, that's it. Shauna
okay.
will ask her question after we close this session.
Yes. So I need feedback again, thumbs up or shaking your head, or because I have so much energy moving around, talking, speaking, and engaging with live audience that I usually say if you have question, objection, comment, those ways of doing things. But in this domain, the IT, the internet technology that we're really blessed with at this time, that we have to all learn together how to be authentic and knowing how to create a safe and supportive environment that we can learn together in such a way that we're going to decision that we can to the end of the month Martin Luther King conversion events the last 3 days of the month. And so it is the top of the hour. And while we're in this technical place of engaging, because we're engaging, here's this energy that are stagnant, crystallized thought forms. And we're coming through this like with the alignment. And it's not Patricia's ways, or it's not my model. I agreed early on in life. It was given to me. I was born into it. And to be a conduit, to be a messenger. But it's the creator's ways. It's the creator's ways, meaning that's how we're existing. And so when we engage, then it has my experience that it is the spirit of hindrance. There is delay, there is technicalities, there's glitches, there's even standing in downtown Seattle all those years being invited there to speak for various events, I knew that I could count on a heckler right below me. Always going to be that spirit of hindrance. So thank you again for your interest and your time. And most of all, that you are within yourself have the capability to acknowledge and have gratitude for this precious time and this treasure knowledge. Hagonet means I'll see you again.
Thank you so much, everyone. So for whoever wants to stay, our grandmother gonna stay here. Have any questions or any conversations? And yeah, so and then we will be posting the session, the presentation part in the social media. This after session is not gonna be posted. I think I can do that. So yes, yeah, feel free to stay with us if you want more conversations. So
that made it okay, seemingly, for the domination to then take hold and take over. And that is the rift that needs to be healed. And I don't know exactly what the answer is, but it feels really significant to me. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, it is very significant. I'm looking at a question here too. It's related. It says, what if you don't know the cause to the imbalance? Well, you reason it and you intuit it and you talk about it and you come to a conclusion with yourself or others, or you research it and you it's not the be all do all, but you start with something and say, I think it's this, and you work with it. You work with it. It's like somebody looking for, oh, there's one right answer over there somewhere and I don't know where it is and I can't find it. No, it's in here what you realize and define for yourself. And then what you're describing is common sense. It's natural way of relating and interacting, communicating and relationship and so on. The healthy helping that I'm describing between male and female and calling it healthy helping, that there is a self-reverence and reverence for other that is also reverence for nature. That is beloved community. And so I would appreciate that what you harvest and what you already, I always tell people, I'm really not telling you too much beyond what you already know, because you recognize it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested and you wouldn't understand and recognize what I'm saying. And so give yourself that nurturing and that self-reverence, and also make it known to the I'm going to call them the sponsors, that to have acknowledge them and have gratitude for this time and this space for because it's technology and how they brought it into being, how they designed it for the purposes that they intended, that they need to hear feedback too. And so they need to hear that some kind of I'm open to supportive critique. I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to the feedback. I'm not just asking for compliments. I'm ensuring that there is a way to bring us into these, when I say empathic coalition, that means that we're willing to link. Someone else has a totally different domain than we do, but we're not going to compete. We're going to collaborate and say, how can we link through our empathy and compassion and caring for each other? How are we going to work together? Well, I'm doing this and I'm doing my part. Well, I'm doing this and doing my part. So the linking part is when we link together, then we can refer someone. Oh, someone is looking for what you're doing, but they need what I'm doing first to understand and help you do what you're doing. And so people benefit. Everybody wins, rather than I'm trying to recruit and recruit to my model and my group and be a founder and say that I need the resources so that we can just only have this group. You have to join this group or convert to this way of thinking. By now, I hope you notice that it is not our intention to follow that protocol that is a conventional established way of not only self-aggrandizing but converting. This is my business and buy my products and donate to my cause, and this is what we're doing. But where is the connection to other people's gifts without devaluing them and doing enemy creation and thereby competing with them? How do I be a conduit so energy flows through me and flows through me in a healthy, helping way? Because unhealthy helping means to help people to stay the way they are, rescue them and enabling them. Like asking someone, why are you doing this? Do you see the consequence of it? Just asking the question. And then somebody come in and interfere and say, well, we don't allow those kind of questions. We're talking about this. This is our topic. That person is rescuing the other person. So you become the perpetrator, that person makes themselves the victim, and then there's a rescuer. And people are just doing that automatically and internally, and then they're doing it among themselves at two levels. That's what I'm just taking down that scaffolding, and then the infrastructure of natural order already exists in terms of reverence and self-reverence and humaneness and peacemaking and body language. Nonverbal communication is 99%. 99%. Nonverbal is 99%. Eye contact, body language. So that's really, really exciting to go into the third session and into the bigger session, hopefully with a foundation, a framework, and